On to our next unit. We're doing development. And this has a lot to do with like changes that happen as you grow, especially with Jean Piaget here, and then also family life, some other things, parenting styles and whatnot. It's just kind of an interesting process here, which is what development is, a process. Cool. So Jean Piaget obviously is a French psychologist. So let's look through at him. You got your slot notes. We're just doing the introduction right now, and then we'll get to the different stages in future lessons. All right, here we go. Piaget, first born 1896, died 1980. You can see we're still moving further into the 20th century here in terms of influence of these psychiatrists. Nation was Switzerland. Jean Piaget, Switzerland. By the way, Switzerland has a French area, a German area, and an Italian area. And so obviously Piaget is from that French area. Piaget's theory is a theory of cognitive development. Cognitive development means the brain. Cognitive development means the brain. And specifically was about children and explains how a child constructs a mental model of the world. How does a child construct a mental model of the world? That was really kind of what he was getting at. All right, let's do a little more in depth and keep going. All right, what Piaget wanted to know was not how well children could count or spell or solve problems. That was kind of a typical school thing, right? In school, a teacher's trying to figure out whether you can count, you can spell, you can solve. That's not really what he was looking at. He wasn't looking to grade their IQ. Remember IQ, I think we talked about this in a previous video. 100 is average, 130 is genius, 70 is the cutoff for an intellectual disability. And so he wasn't really, that really wasn't his big thing. What he was more interested in was the way in which fundamental concepts, like the very idea of number, how do you get the idea of number or time or quantity, amount, number, causality, cause and effect. When do children learn that? Where do they start to understand that? When do they start to understand the concept of time? And then the idea of justice, which is like right and wrong, if you will. And when does that emerge? At what point does a child understand those things? Because obviously, when they're 1 or 1.5, they might not understand any of those things, although maybe they start to understand a little bit of some of them. All right, so that's the question. He was really interested in when it happens. All right, let's keep going. Piaget, uh, before Piaget's work, the common assumption in psychology was that children were merely less competent thinkers than adults. That they basically had the same mind and their mind worked the same way as adults. They just were less competent. They weren't very good at it. Piaget, though, really critically showed that young children actually think in strikingly different ways compared to adults. Like children literally think differently than adults. And so he wants to look at that process, the stages where the thinking process changes. And they go from thinking like children to thinking like adults because they don't just think like adults naturally. All right, that's the introduction to Piaget. One thing you can do is go back here. This is an empty slide with the main point here, the main portion, and see if you can read this and fill in the blanks. So just go ahead and press pause on the video and then see if you can fill in the blanks without looking at your sheet. If you have to look, great, turn it over and then do it again. All right, great. Thanks. Bye.